Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? Today we're going to be taking a look at some of these meta defenses that we see kind of at the mid to high end, but SaiKumar has put a different twist on them. So let's check these out. We grade on 5 different criteria. It's who you're using, their placement, their power levels, their ISOs, and what kind of mood I'm in. Now, if you're in a hurry, be sure to check the description down below for what teams we're going over. You can just drag the slider till you see them up here in the window. And yeah. Here we go. Team number 1 is the AIM team. This is a standard AIM team. ISOs don't matter so much on this team. A lot of people just throw healer on everybody. However, I think if you're going to go with, what do we got? Is this shield security right here? I can't tell. It's been a while since I looked at it. As a skirmisher, that's interesting. I don't know why you would do shield security as, or aim security as a skirmisher. I think that should be a healer, as she has passive healing in her kit. And then you've got assaulter as, you've got assaulter as a striker. That works. I don't like assaulter on this team. You've already over-invested into this character, so you might as well keep him. I kind of like, who do I like as the 5th? I like, Monstrosity? No. I guess this works. Am I missing a character? Well, I mean, I know there's... No. Okay, I guess, yeah, we'll go with Assaulter on this team. I was thinking I liked somebody else. Maybe Monstrosity, but I don't know. You've invested. These are fine. Don't invest in these anymore. You're going to change your placement, though. You want... Scientist Supreme to the outside. You want your 3 minions to the inside. They all do kind of adjacent stuff with speed up, with healing, turn meter manipulation on the rest of their team, stuff like that. So swap the placement here. Otherwise, everything here is fine. Get their ISOs up to ISO level 3. Striker's fine on this guy, although I run him as a skirmisher. I think you should change skirmisher to either healer or... Yeah, I think this should be healer. Just change shield security to healer. And then scientist, yeah, these guys healer and striker. That looks pretty good. Yeah, you could do some tweaks here. So I'm going to give you a C for this team. It's nothing scary. It's just a filler spot. It's what we got to do now that we have 10 teams to fill. Wave 1 with, and here's the swap out. This is something we don't normally see right here, is Cloak in on this team. Now, traditionally, this team doesn't use a whole lot of debuffs. You've got Blind. I think you've got a Stun or something from Thor. But for the most part, they're clearing negative effects, not putting... Or they're clearing positive effects, not adding negative effects. Just those two, really. So throwing in a whole bunch of these, could work. You're going to be screwing things up. This is a lot of RNG factor in here. I like that you're taking a look at this and trying something new and different. This is a really standard team, and people are coming into it with a supernatural, trying to stun him and then control the rest of them. But if you come out with a bunch of extra blinds off of this guy, or some defense down that can really work, I think it could be something. Personally, I think that this guy is going to go with the new warriors on an offensive or defensive comp in the future, but for right now he's a new enough character. People don't understand how he works, and you're running Black Widow on probably Skilletary, I imagine, so you need somebody to fill in there, and it's a good choice. Placement's great. Your ISOs are good enough. Yeah, I like Raider on Thor, but Stryker brings up his overall power, so all right. Be sure to get him up to those war-ready levels. None of these are worth changing. Yeah, it's not worth changing him already, so just add the 4th ISO and you're good to go. Yeah, I think you're doing really good here. I'm going to give you a B+ for this. You're not wasting anything. I think there's better people to be using, and I would like to see him used elsewhere. However, for right now, it's kind of a cool composition to be using. It's something new and different that'll throw people a wrench in their strategy. Oh, here's your Skilletary team. Now, I like Skilletary on offense. I don't think you should be using him on defense. 409, that's going to be taking out a lot of Mercs. At your league, you're going to be coming across a lot of Mercs where this will work. Just watch out for the Ultimus Yeah, the Ultimus version, not Ultron. Ultimus version, that's Mercs with Ultimus. He screws up the Red Guardian, so you don't want to use the Skilletary on that team. However, this team does work very well against any other comp of Mercs plus a few other teams. So get them off of defense, use them on offense. I'm going to give you a C for this just because this is not supposed to be used on defense. However, on defense, I do find that they actually get a few DVs once in a while because people just don't know how to attack into Skilletary. You're definitely going to need to bring up your ISOs to war ready levels, whether you use them on offense or defense. Yeah, otherwise it's good. Your placement's all right. Don't invest any more into this guy. All you got to do is put the T4 in his passive and make sure he spawns into the match, and he's good. You got a lot of power in your Punisher. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'd bring up the power level in these two right here. Leave these two. This will be a very effective offensive team. No need to overinvest in them or anything. They're kind of their time is come and gone. They're on the downhill slide here, but it's still a very effective offense and very useful, and you're going to need it. So I think get it on offense. Team number 4. Here's a Mercs with Shuri and Captain Marvel. Get this Captain Marvel out of here. She has no synergy with this team that I know of, other than being a military asset, and I'm not sure. I don't think Lieutenant's military. He might be, I can't remember. But either way, it's not, she's just not gonna. You're gonna get more value out of an 80k Bullseye than you will this 144 Captain Marvel, because Bullseye is gonna be taking turns when these guys are doing their non-attack moves and doing quite a bit of damage. So I'd rather see Bullseye in here, but what I would most rather see is if you're going to run the Shuri build, get Killmonger in here. You're not running Killmonger on Skilletary, so he should be in here in place of Captain Marvel. She's just not that great. Her synergy lies elsewhere on like a full military team. I mean, heck, you could put Captain Marvel in here on this military team, take Black Widow and put her back on this team. I just don't like her here. Also, on war defense, she actually works pretty good as a healer because she heals up so fast. Her own self-healing works so fast that she becomes a really hard person to kill. Not as much as she used to be, but I think you should maybe think about changing her to a healer. You've put a lot of investment in it, though, so probably just come up with a different defensive composition for Captain Marvel. Otherwise, your placement's screwed up. You need to put... yeah, let's go Shuri, Killmonger. Whoops. Sorry about that. Don't know what that just did. Okay. Let's go Shuri, Killmonger, Merc Lieutenant, Merc Riot Guard, and then Taskmaster for the placement. You've got Skirmisher here, but no strikers anywhere else that's going to mean anything. So Captain Marvel might do a double tap off of one of his regular moves, but this is, yeah, there's just no synergy. Change these two guys to Skirmisher. You don't need Lieutenant as a healer because you've got Shuri in here. She's doing plenty of healing for this team. So get Killmonger in here as a striker on this team, Raider elsewhere, but striker on this team, and then you're maximizing the output from your rather large Taskmaster. So yeah, get those guys changed. Sorry, I lost my voice last week. It hasn't come back yet. I'm pretty raspy today. All right, you got the AxMen with Hela on this team. This is another interesting little twist to a standard composition. People put AxMen in here. At the very high end, we're seeing Phoenix and Colossus in here as the two replacements. I don't think people should be doing the Phoenix Colossus deal unless you have an absolutely bonkers roster, because you're contracting your roster. You need to be expanding it. Hela on this team is a liability. I would come in with my own AxMen on a slight punch up, which my AxMen are bigger than this. But if I had a 500 AxMen, I would come into this with no worries because I'm going to be getting kills off the Gregs and just tear through this team. Symbiotes could probably punch across on this just because you have Hela in there. I think she's a liability. I think you should definitely just be going with Iceman in here, or better yet, use this team on offense. Use Hela on your Supernatural for offense. This is a waste of resources. In fact, you're taking a pretty good defensive team that's better on offense, but a pretty good defensive team, and you're making it worse with Hela. So I'm giving you an F for this. I think this is actually a big fail. It's just a waste of resources, and I see too many possibilities for destroying this team when it would normally be a pretty tough team. Like if this was just a full AxMen at 580, you would have to probably punch down into it on a mirror match just to be certain, because if this team happens to get a kill first or something, they could really take off and ruin you. So I think you're making it easier to beat with Hela in here. Team number 6, S6 with Doc Ock. I hate this build anymore. This team is totally destroyable, and Doc Ock is totally usable elsewhere. You've got the proper ISOs, or at least good enough ISOs on these. Skirmisher on Rhino is questionable. That should be a Raider, I think. But you can work with all of these. Strikers, Skirmishers, or Raiders for these guys is fine. It really doesn't matter. Go with the old school Sinister Six. Get Doc Ock out of here. Put it doesn't matter in his place, and just run it as a filler team. Don't overinvest in it. Maybe get this guy up to ISO level 4. Change this guy to a Raider. Get him up to ISO level 4 if you want the War Ready bonus. It's not even worth investing into it. Just fill this team with the OG. Take Doc Ock and use him on a different hybrid elsewhere, either offense, or we'll probably see some stuff coming up where we could put him on defense. I'm going to give you a C for this. Anymore, this team is getting a lower and lower grade just because they're so beatable, and Doc Ock is useful elsewhere. Team number 7 here. This is where you could be using Doc Ock in place of Magneto, giving deflects to Strife and Emma. However, you could also swap the placement with Sinister, so Sinister would get those deflects off of Doc Ock and then spread them to the rest of the team throughout the match. It's kind of it works pretty well either way. You want those deflects coming on these two, at least, if not Sinister, so that some of those ability blocks, stuns, disrupts, things like that are harder to put on these two. They're kind of pivotal in this team. However, running Magneto on this team is pretty cool. It makes it a lot more challenging for you to come in with Shadowlands. Shadowlands can still pull it off. They just have to be sure to cleanse away those blinds and time it out right. You've got Minerva in here. She makes it kind of tricky too. So it's a very formidable team that you're running right here. I just think that you'd be doing better by taking Doc Ock off the previous team, putting him on here, and then running Magneto with a full Brotherhood team, either with like a Brotherhood Doom or using Brotherhood on offense for some smaller teams. You don't have him beefed up that well. I think this 179 Doc Ock is going to make this a very, very scary team. You know, you're going to be bringing that power level up over 700, and people are going to be like, whoa, I can't mess around with this. Otherwise, Fortifier, Healer, and Skirmisher. Skirmisher on him is kind of weird, but maybe you're going to go for the focus boost when you get him to level 5. It could be a thing to do. I prefer him as a Raider because he's got AoE, chain, and splash damage. So if you're considering long-term investment, you might want to change that to a Raider, but Skirmisher is also an effective thing. It just doesn't really pay off until you get him up to level 5. As for this build, I think it's a B. I think it's a really tough team. I think you need to build up this guy a little bit more and bring up that ISO to war-ready levels. Your placement is great. Maybe consider swapping Emma and Magneto, because Magneto's a little bit squishy. You don't want him getting any splash damage. So, but a B for this team. I would like to see the Doc Ock build or something else, and utilizing this the Brotherhood elsewhere. That'll give you another team to fill in here. Team number 8 is kind of a Secret Avengers, because you got Secret Avenger here. You got him, which normally goes on the Secret Avenger team, and Kestrel, that normally goes on the Secret Avenger team, but then you're putting in these two as your fillers. Now, Deathpool doesn't have a lot of synergy with this team, neither does Ghost. They're not putting out a lot of negative buffs for debuffs for Ghost to prolong or for Deathpool to spread. There's going to be some, but again, I think Deathpool with the new Warriors is going to have a lot of value. She's got great synergy with those because that's her team, obviously. Also, I don't think you've got a lot of people putting defense down on the field for Kestrel to work off of, other than Kestrel doing it herself. So it's a build where people are going to look at this and go, whoa, how do I beat this? Like, what's going on here? And it's going to stop and make them think, you know? I just think that overall the synergy with this team isn't there, and you can come up with better builds. Namely, just a straight Secret Avenger. Like, replace these two with the other two Secret Avenger members, and you're going to be doing a lot better. Yeah. Let's try that. Your ISOs are where they need to be. Healer on him. No, change him to a Raider. Nick Fury needs to be a Raider, although you've got a pretty sizable investment. If you're serious about it, you need to change him to a Raider. He has turn meter rewind or energy. I think it's energy. He gives out energy on his basic when he crits. I don't think he has turn meter rewind. I think that's one of his old teammates. And then striker there, striker there, striker there, and you've got one skirmisher. So one skirmisher for 3 strikers, that's not a good mix. You definitely need to change him to Raider, help get some of those vulnerables on the field for these other 3 to work off of. But best course of action is to replace these 2, use them on a different team. Short term, I think this is fun. See how many DVs you get, but be prepared to switch this into something new. I'm going to give you a B- for it. Not doing anything wrong, but you could do a lot better. Team number 9. Now, this is an interesting composition. We normally see, excuse me, my chair's rolling all over the floor here. We normally see Silver Surfer in place of Doom right here, and there's a reason for it. He's good on this team. He's fast. He gets out of control. You have all these fast threats that are hard to kill because of Yo-Yo, and then Doom is slow. Like, Doom's just really slow, and this is like a fast, hard-hitting opener, bam, in-your-face kind of team. And now you've got Doom in here who's just, you know, having trouble pedaling his tricycle, catching up with these guys. Now, once Doom goes off, that's great, but you don't have a lot of protection going for Doom other than Yo-Yo giving the offense down to attackers. But this is going to be pretty easy to control this team. Yeah, I like Surfer. I like the traditional build in here. But again, people are going to go into this and they're going to go, wait, I normally use such and such a team to take this out. Now Doom's in here. What do I do? Probably going to be something like a Shadowlands or like a Zemo Red Skull hybrid team would come in here. Like a Zemo, Hella Zemo. Hella Zemo would work great. Land that ability block, spread it around. So that would be one of the ways to work on that. But otherwise, again, it's kind of a fun team to go, oh, hey, this is different. I'm going to have to come into this and stop and think about it or use something different. Bring up the power levels in these 2. Raiders, Skirmisher, Strikers. Skirmisher on him. He needs to be a Raider. Coulson's a Raider. Yeah, change Coulson to a Raider. You've got 2 strikers, 2 skirmishers, and a Raider, so you've got enough vulnerables on the field. I'd like to see you change this to Silver Surfer, change this to a Raider. Everything else is good. Make sure you're war ready at 4 ISO, and bring up the power levels on these. Kind of a C for me. I'm going to give you a C+. It's just interesting seeing new stuff that could work. I'd like to see you put Doom on that Brotherhood. Yeah. And of course, we have Heroes for Hire. Now, we have Fortifier, Healer, Skirmisher, Raider, Striker, perfect ISOs, great placement. Power levels are nice. We're going to get the stars on these characters and bring them up. I think you're doing a great job. That's an A for your final team. Yeah, so this is SaiKumar's Defense Up review. If you like what you saw, please leave a like. If I made a mistake, make a comment. I read those things. I try and do corrections on the following day or whatever. We're now streaming 2 days a week on Twitch because chat got a little crazy last week, and well, they're paying me to get to work, I guess. So I'm going to be trying to put out more of these Defense Up videos. They should be coming out 2 or 3 times weekly. Yeah, like and subscribe, all the usual stuff. And don't forget, be sure to don't just have a good game, be good to yourself and others too. Thanks. Bye.